you can give us a call. I'm here with Franke Morales. You hear us talk about our anger management guy who's just wonderful, and this is him. He's back with us today. How are you?
Just fine. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Frank, doing great. There is so much to talk about, so we've got to get to it. Let's talk about this free first-time home buying training that the Family Service Centers creates for you guys, and it's a program that you guys actually have for people. Is it free?
Yes, it's free. And
nice.
The good thing about it is this is training for first-time home buyers. Lets them know all the things that they have to go through with that.
Okay.
It's run by a person named Dave Doherty down in Family Services and Scott Mead. He's a new person that's come along at Family Services, and they're doing a great job educating the public on how to get a house. The other thing is, for a lot of programs, in order to get money, to qualify for money for them, you have to have this training.
Well, nice.
So there's still, I believe, $8,000 that's available for first-time home buyers up until June.
And I believe $6,500 for repeat purchasers.
Right. It's very important that you get in there now in order to get yourself through by the time, June comes through.
Well, you want to save that money. That's from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Family Service Centers in Huntsville. The number is 551-1610. Definitely call for reservations on that. There that is. And you can email me. I'll be happy to forward you information on that. And we'll be talking to Dave hopefully in the upcoming weeks about some other programs that they have at Family Services. Your number one issue, though, Frank, you deal with some angry people. You deal with conflict resolution, and it's Valentine's Day. You don't think anyone's going to be mad, do you?
Possibility, because what happens is people, Valentine's Day being a real day that we think we're going to be close to our loved ones, and a lot of times what happens is we don't get what we expect.
Loved ones may forget you.
Yes, or they may not do the things you want, or they may still be in conflict with you, and so what happens is you get angry because your expectations weren't met.
And like you said earlier, there's a lot more alcohol intake, and then what is it about alcohol? It just makes you feel like you're 10 feet tall, and then the mouth gets as big as your feet.
And what happens when those things happen is people, when they lose their inhibitions with that, they just tend to say a lot of things that have been on their mind. A lot of their resentments come out at that time. The same thing that happens with Valentine's Day. Someone says, we're going to spend a lot of money, take you to a nice dinner, do this and that, and things don't work out the way that they do. Then their resentments start coming out after that.
A lot of harsh things could be said, and they're hard to forget once those things are said.
A lot of words can never be taken back, and that's why a lot of times people need to realize they need to calm themselves down before they start speaking. But a lot of people just go for it right off the top.
You feel that people know that they have an anger problem, or they realize that if I'm constantly arguing with a loved one in the same home, shouldn't they recognize that and get help prior to that big explosion?
Most people think of themselves as the victim in that respect, and so what happens is they never examine their own behavior. They look at the other person's behavior.
They're justified. They have a reason to be angry.
Yes.
All right, so they don't see it as a problem.
No, a lot of people just think that the other person is totally the problem.
How do you possibly, if you're living with someone that you realize or you feel has an anger issue, how do you get them to come see you? Well,
a lot of times that's something that even some people come to anger management. It's not because they're so much angry themselves. It's that they're angry about the situation. And what they have to realize is what their part is, and then know that you can't change another person. You can ask them to do things, but a lot of people in situations like that, especially in marriages, in any type of relationships, they don't tend to do anything until the day you decide to walk out of it. Then all of a sudden they're ready for therapy with counselors. They're ready to go to anger management or domestic violence, whichever is appropriate, problems that they have. And so the thing is, if you go first, you prepare yourself for how you're going to handle the situations. And you're not going to let somebody else make you something you're not.
And you don't want to wait until you're given an ultimatum, because that really puts a lot more pressure on the situation.
Yes, it does. We like to say, even in anger management, we really don't have any volunteers, even though I have a lot of people that's their official title when they come in, because somebody in their life decided that they would give them the ultimatum.
They needed it. Not only do you do the anger management, and you know what, going to an anger management program, do not be embarrassed about that, because every single person in the world, I think, should take your class or a class, because everyone gets angry, and sometimes we don't see the way we react. Me included. I mean, been there, done that. But, I mean, you just don't realize the whole situation, and you let other people push your buttons, and you learn how to control that, and you teach great tools to go on, and I'm still living with Jamie. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, that's a miracle.
Oh, he's partially, he just wants to sound bad.
Yeah.
But another thing, too, that you do, past the anger management, maybe you have a husband or a wife or a soon-to-be ex-spouse or an ex-spouse in the anger management. You can move that toward conflict resolution, because if they don't work it out, there's never going to be any resolution.
Right. What's happening is we have a lot of people that suffer from the court nowadays because of the fact that they're in a very adversarial divorce. And once they're in that adversarial divorce, they tend to not be able to co-parent at all. There's no communication. It's destroying all the family dynamics. And so they're sent to us, and our job there is to repair the communication, get someone out of anger. If they're going through a divorce, they sometimes even conflict resolution has stopped people from divorces.
Right.
But even if you're going to go through it, what happens is you're better able to settle. You're not going to go through the prolonged thing. You're going to drop some of those things that are just like cancer to your family, so that you can move on afterwards. The judges are also sending to us after very contested divorces, because of the fact that once you've been in the courtroom for a custody battle, almost everything is thrown on the wall. And
Someone's going to lose. And
right,
be
someone's
angrier.
going to lose, and someone's going to be very angry afterwards. And because of that, what happens is it's very toxic for them to try to co-parent afterwards, or do any of the communication they need for their children. So that's another case where they're sent to us. And then we have cases where people have been divorced for years, but they're still coming back to court.
Because they're still angry. They haven't resolved those issues.
Right.
What does it do to the children?
Let me tell you, what happens is the children at some point start taking sides. The children manipulate both parents into saying, because if they know that they won't talk, then I can tell you one thing and I can tell you another. So parenting really goes out the window with those cases.
The kids are in control at that point.
Yes. And then some kids get very depressed because of the fact that these people cannot seem to get past their anger with each other for the benefit of them. And so it creates a bad situation with that. Nowadays, we have a lot of people volunteering for conflict resolution because they see the problems happening and they're trying to attack them beforehand. And it's a very proactive state for them.
And that is probably the best advice we can give up here this morning. If you are contemplating a divorce or you are going through a divorce right now, for the sake of the children, you have got to get into one of these programs, because you see so many divorced couples that go at it for years and years and years, and it is toxic, and it affects everyone in the family. So do yourself a favor and, you know what, just swallow hard and take the class, and it'll do a world of wonders there. Sticks and stones may, break your bones, words will never hurt you. Yeah, boy, that's a bunch of baloney. Talking about bullying and the discovery issue.
Well, it's interesting about the bullying concept and everything, but bullying basically deals with two emotions. We're dealing with fear, and then we deal with the actual act of intimidation, the key elements. And what you see a lot in schools is, at one point we kind of thought that was normal behavior to sit up there and, they're just playing and they're just teasing somebody. But there's a difference between teasing and bullying. Teasing is when you're with a group and you're with people that are your friends, and maybe you tease this person and this person teases you back. But in bullying, what happens is you have a group of people usually, and these people are not your friends, and these people are talking about you and doing things with that, and there's no response this way. It's completely one-sided. A lot of people think, well, if you have a conflict with bullies and all that, some people believe that you can get the two together and work it out or do whatever, but that's not how it should work in this case. Because bullying, the person that's having that done to them is the victim. It's not a mediation section.
Plain and simple, they're the victim.
Yeah, they're the victim. It's not mediation where we say, you two need to get along better. This person that's the bully has the issue.
This hit home. We're talking about the Discovery Middle School death of Todd Brown. He was actually shot. They're saying it was gun-related. He was shot in the head, and they said that bullying was involved. However, these are 14-year-old children.
Right.
Do you, when you have a family and you see your own kids doing this, or you see other kids doing this, any steps that parents can take?
Yes, because first of all, you can't ignore it. And that's why I say people like to make that a normal state. It's not a normal state.
We're beyond normal anymore.
Right. And they don't understand. A lot of things that we used to say happen with adults that soon went to high schools where we saw the behavior, you 100% see in middle schools now. Then parents need to be very aware of what their children are doing.